Hello and welcome to Roasting the World. We offer an adversarial perspective on today's cultural issues. Introducing our host,
Chris Robinson.
and
Aoki Scott.
I'm Keenan Robinson. Today's issue to be roasted is music. And is it something that our community is building with? Is it detrimental to our community? We're going to talk ownership as far as masters. And what direction is it going, and do we control that direction? I've been in the music industry for quite some time, and there was a point, probably my mid-20s, where I decided to go away from more gangster rap towards something that my kids, because I started having kids, that my kids could listen to. That was more, still gangster like it real, but just it talks different. Because I noticed that in my school, I was working at 4-year-olds twerking. You know what I'm saying? Singing all the lyrics to certain songs that were detrimental to them. And I just don't think that that's uplifting to our community. But then there are things as far as music that is uplifting to our community that we love, that empower us. So, can you give us a little insight as far as what you've done and how you feel the music is affecting today's culture?
Well, I have listened to different, all types of music. I want to take this out.
Take it out.
Okay. Well, I've listened to all types. It's messing me up, but all types of music, from rap, hip hop, north, south, east, and west, different type of collaborations. But as a whole, I think it's what's hot right now. Things that are, suicide music, trap house music. It's basically, that's the hot thing, and it's just like they only use you for a hot summer, and then it's like if you have a one hit, then what happens after that? So it's just like it's confusing.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, you said suicide music. Like, how is that helpful? Unless it's shining a light on mental health, or is it telling you to do that?
Well, Billie Eilish, her music basically, I would say she talks about the emotions. It's basically like the blues, but it's separate. Same with trap house music. If you, instead of looking at the person or the album cover and everything, but if you actually listen to the lyrics, then you'll understand that they're trying to get you to understand something. But music can also put you in a zone, certain zones.
Because it has power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and you're also a musician. Can you shed a little light on your experiences and how you feel concerning the topic today?
If you study the history of music, then it's like what he was saying. Like, some of this music is, different hurts do different things. Different tunes do different things to your body. So, it will make you feel a certain way. But in life, like, the key to everything is just a balance. Like, you just want to have a balance of whatever it is you're trying to balance in life. Like, the key is just balance. So like you said about the twerking and these gangster music, like, none of this stuff is harmful if it's like unbalanced or balanced right. Like, if you balance this stuff right, then it can be beneficial and just it can help the soul. It can help these kids, because like gangster music, a lot of it is what I have done and which I still do in a sense is just storytelling. You telling the story about what you actually went through. So you got to learn how to tell your story, but also tell your story of where you going. You know what I mean? So this gangster music, you can tell a story about where you been and what's went on, but you gotta also just be able to balance out and tell these youth of, you know, where you headed, like your new music. You know what I mean? Where you say, you know, we talk a little different and we say a little bit of different things. So that's the way I feel about it. It's just got to be a balance on. You don't want to overdrive any child with just a bunch of, like, even rock and roll. Like rock and roll has a certain sound. It's just, you know, and it's like you can just listen to one song and tell, you know, you don't want to be in overdrive on this, or it will affect you and your lifestyle differently. So that's the way I feel about it so far.
Okay, and they said that music, tames the savage beast or something like that.
But it's influential.
Very influential.
You know, and it's you know, like you saying, it can tame the beast or it can release the beast.
Okay.
You know, because if I know them soldiers were over there, they were listening to like "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." You know, then you got people that only like a specific type of music. You got people who like just purely gospel.
Right.
You got some people that purely like a certain sound. You know what I'm saying? But it's also, to me, it's marketing. It's also what it's marketing, because the music, as they say, if you're looking at a Christian or religious eye, they're gonna say that's the devil's music. Music is universal. I've seen Chinese people that couldn't speak English get up and sing a gospel song that I've sang at church, but they sang it just like us.
Right.
And so it's like sounds carry your even with your tone of your voice, things like that. But it's like it's what's marketing, because the flashy people like flashy things, colors, things like that. But if I'm rapping about something positive, just think, positive rapping doesn't, unless they're starting their self out, or unless they change themselves once they get their music, it doesn't have a serious found. People don't take it serious being positive, or even gospel rap. There's you know, I heard gospel trap the other day, and I was just like, is it relevant? It's not, you know, because people, what can you market? What can you sell? Like I said, it's the hot new thing.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. So that leads me to to a conversation I heard on a different podcast, where they were saying that there was a effort back in the day, maybe the 80s, 70s, I don't know, to push a certain type of agenda or a certain type of music to the forefront that was detrimental to, specifically to, the culture of people of color. To say the conscious music, the KRS Ones, and the people that are, you know, trying to teach you something or empower you in certain types, in other type of ways, are going to be put on the back burner. They're not going to be pushed. We're not going to put marketing behind them. But you can get somebody to talk about Ouija boards, devils, killing, murder, degrading our women. That's going to be pushed to the forefront. Yeah. So that was an effort to do that. And it's caught on because now, like I said, you got 4-year-olds twerking.
It's also ownership.
It is ownership.
It's who owns their stuff, because if you look at these artists, it's like everything is on repeat. If you look at it, you know,
right.
Everything's on repeat.
Right.
You got, and like I said, music is universal. I've heard a Juice WRLD song that it was old school. I heard some 90s rap music, and it was who was it? Michael McDonald. I can't forget. I'm not in love anymore. That song, and then, you know, it's on repeat.
Right.
And it's like the sample is sampled by the sample.
Right.
Just sampled by the sample already.
Right.
You know, but if you don't own your stuff, a lot of times when the artists, when they die, you hear their music that they made for them, you know what I'm saying, instead of what's pushing out there. You know what I'm saying? Like Prince said it best, if you don't really own your stuff, if you look at the history of it, you got very few people, but that, you know, like, it's another genre. Like, you got Erykah Badu, they say certain things, but their music, it's the vibe, The Weeknd, it's the vibe, you know, that you're bringing out. But if you have someone that's going to, you know, put it out there like that, you know what I'm saying, what are you willing to do to get to the top? You know,
and I have heard
upside down.
Those stories about, you know, having to go to those meetings and different things like that, and some things that you have to do to get on and sacrifice you have to make. So it is about ownership. I definitely agree with
and
that.
like I said, they're marketing. You got J. Cole, right?
Right.
He's telling people, get you some property, get you some things that these new, get you this, which you know,
Right.
get you an arsenal and all that, and get you some money and da 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 da. But when they done with them, when they done chewed them up, they ain't got nothing. You know, nobody taught you about, you know,
Financial literacy.
yeah, that like that,
Right.
like, you know, say something about that in your song. Like, what you doing? What is your group doing?
Right.
I know the LMF, they started out and they're telling their story. Now they got businesses, people have their homes, but you look at some people that started out, GHL, back in the day, where are they now?
And see, like you said about like that, like that's the way I look at it, like what we doing. Cause see, like LMF, we do a lot of gangster rap, we do a lot of rap in general, of just like we said, our storytelling and things of that nature. But like we said, that's the key to it is
Y'all own
also
y'all
being
logo.
a face of what do you want to produce. See, when we do music, it's only to draw in the crowd, and when you get that crowd, you can tell them whatever it is you want to tell them truthfully. You know what I mean? So like with us, like the way music is, what we do, like the way I look at it, when I still do rap music, because it's something that I have embraced as a youngster, and at the time I still feel like it got me over certain humps. You know, while I'm in the prison systems, or you know, while I'm going through certain things, I would like to know that somebody else feels the same way I feel, and now that I'm aware of that, then you know I utilize it for that particular thing, but at the same time, when somebody young comes to talk to me and they like, I like that song, I make sure to just incorporate, you know, this is how you can invest, make money, and do positive things. And you know, you don't just look at my song or my videos and think that this is just all we do. That's just a small aspect of, you know,
The bigger picture.
the bigger picture. And go back to what you guys were saying about, like, if you, like I said, if you know the history of the music industry, it is Satan's workshop. It is Satan's playground. So in order to combat this, if you want to compete with this, is, you know, just know about your exposure to your kids. What are you exposing your child to, or what are you exposing the youth to, in a sense? You know what I mean? So just less exposure will probably of certain types of music, certain types of sounds. And you know, pay attention to your child on what they watching on YouTube. You can't just
That's
give your
impossible
kid
these days. Because
to do what?
regardless, you gonna learn. Life does that. You shield your kids. If you shield your kids too hard, when they get out there, they're gonna be like, oh,
You'll be shocked.
you know, they're gonna be, everything's gonna come at them, and then they're gonna go buck wild. But it's like you ease them into things, because if they go to school, somebody at school is doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody at school's listening to something. You go to Boys and Girls Club, somebody else is wearing certain things, they doing certain things, and you go back home.
And
you
see,
know what I'm saying?
and-
You do instill in them, but you let them know there are wolves out there.
Mhm.
There are things out there. But
Right.
like you said earlier in the conversation about influence, it's like, or the power of how the music might have over you.
Right.
You gotta have, like you said, you gotta have that mental power to know, I like the Weeknd's music, but I'm not gonna go out there and drive crash, you know, and do all that, snort and do all that. So you do, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say, I feel like it's human nature to be curious about things, and to let things whisper something like a muse, or they influence, they sing their songs to draw you in. They would do that to shippers. And it's like, if they didn't have that power over you, you didn't have to listen. You know what I'm saying? You can keep yourself. So I just, you know what I'm saying?
How do you train the youth to let them know that that's not real? I mean, I'll put it like this: it is real in some aspects, but it's a created reality. You don't have to go out and do gangster stuff. You don't have to go out and fall in love and get your heart broken. Those are all
But
choices
it's
that
levels.
you make, and
It's
it is levels to it.
It's
So
some people's escape. Some
Right.
people can get so lost in a song, like certain songs just
right,
make you boo hoo,
right,
make you think like "Dear Mama" by
Right,
Tupac.
right.
That song I usually can't get through it without like kind of tearing up because it makes me think and reminisce about a lot of things that I've seen that I've heard. But it's just
Right.
like you can't, and you got to go to work right after that, or you in your car and you just hearing something. You got to be able to separate things
so it's
from
mood.
your relationship. You going home to your family and your kids. You don't take that home with you. You go into work. You don't take your family and your home to work with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can get you if you don't train yourself. Because there's people that don't know how to do it. But once a situation happens, it either can make or break you.
Right, because it's mood altering.
Yeah.
And see, I want to go back to what you were saying about the certain things like being impossible. See, one thing about it is you just want to pay attention to what your child is exposed to. If you know that they are exposed to a lot of these things based off their location, based off where they're going, based off their friends, what we like to teach here on Roasting the World is, we are here to fight the fight. So if you know that they are fighting your child basically with all these negative thoughts or these negative songs, you need to fight more harder to get positive in their life. You know what I mean? And so the next thing and the last thing I want to say about it is teaching these kids that you are your own individual person. Once you teach these kids that they don't need to be nobody else but themselves, then you will have, real adults, grown ups. You will just have leaders who don't follow the songs. They don't follow the trends. They don't follow all these other whatever it is there is to follow. They are their own person. They're their own individual person. So a lot of times it's just about teaching these kids how to be their own individual person, making up what it is that they truly feel that they want to make up inside of themselves. And then that's how we can, fight the fight. You know what I mean?
Also, just kind of piggybacking on that, I remember back in the day with my mom, she used to play old music. Like, old music or it would be music that was pop culture, but it wasn't negative. It was, either, let's say 1960s, you listening to the Jackson 5, or and most of their songs were kind of upbeat, but they weren't telling you to hurt yourself or degrading people or anything like that. So when I grow up and I'm singing those chants, because these are spells. These are things that we're speaking out into the world, that if I say, I love everybody, and I keep singing those songs, then I'm going to probably feel like that. I'm probably going to feel like I love everybody, even though despite I might be poor, I might be going through stuff in my life, but it's an upbeat and positive thing, so I'm going to feel more upbeat and positive. But the culture shifted sometime, maybe 90s, 2000s, something like that, to where a lot of the youth now don't know about those older songs that were empowered. And I'm black and I'm proud. Just think, you living in the 60s or 70s or whenever James Brown was popular, I can't remember, and you sing, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, and you're a black person. And you haven't heard those things before, because you may come from a situation where you may not have been proud, but that made you feel proud of being who you are. And now you hear things that are degrading our queens, degrading our kings, taking us straight to prison, to death, to a lot of junkies out here are musicians. Even back in the day, a lot of people overdose and stuff were musicians. But nowadays, it's not hidden. Like back in the day, you wouldn't know somebody was taking this or that because they wasn't singing about it, except maybe Rick James. You know what I mean? But nowadays, everybody's saying, I'm doing this drug and that drug, and then kids are like, well, what is that? I ain't heard of that. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing too. So I think, like, for me, it's getting kind of detrimental to us. And then you may have one song that comes in that may be a more positive thing, but that has to combat 50 other things. And then people say, well, it's a freedom of self-expression and different things like that of that sort. But that's crap. We have what's it called? When you're supposed to do something, you have what's the word I'm looking for? Role model. You have to do because we don't have that in our community. We're lacking these things. So if we don't use our power to empower others, then we're going to have a whole generation of lost people. And music is one way to start that process by empowering them in some kind of other way.
Exactly, and I like how you said that, because that's the key to it too, is for one, letting everybody know that's involved. Like, everybody that's involved around the music should know that it's strictly entertainment, for one. That it's strictly entertainment. Like, you don't look at these people as your daddy, your role models, and all of that. Like I said, it's strictly just entertainment. So don't even involve. That's like social media. That's the way I look at social media. Like, when you get on Facebook and you just see, you know, certain people just put so much into social media, it's like, and you know that's not the platform really for it. It's like, that's how you got to treat the music industry. You just got to know, like, what it truly is for and what it's not for. You know what I mean? You don't want to, it's strictly just entertainment. So don't involve your whole life around it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Just look at it for, you know, while you ride to the store, you like to just hear a little beat and that's it. But you don't really care to, you know, try to be this person or
Internalize
try
it.
to be that person, or you don't want your kids to, you know, like you were saying about the drugs sort of thing. Like, just because he rapped about it doesn't mean you need to incorporate it into your life, because it may not fit. You know, what
And
I
he may
mean?
not even be living like that for real.
9
That might
times
just
out
be
of 10,
popular.
he's not. If you do listen to their interviews, they tell you they don't live like that. I hear lots and lots of rappers say they don't do no drugs.
Right.
Like Mo3 was one. He didn't do no drugs. He didn't even really promote drugs, I don't think, in most
But he
of
was
his songs.
putting himself in other
But
positions.
exactly.
So sometimes
So
it
it
ain't drugs.
look-
Sometimes it's how your lifestyle that you live in, where you are, your locations.
Exactly.
So as we are coming to a close,
Wait, I want to add something to that.
Okay,
What y'all was
yeah.
saying, in those times and things like that, be discreet. You got to be discreet with what you're doing. Like you said, those musicians in those days, you didn't know they were on drugs until they, you know, died or
Right.
something, or they telling their story. But it's too much. People, they feeling like if I'm doing all this and everything like that, then that's the way of the world. Or like you
They
said,
fit in.
separate yourself
Mhm.
from your, you know what I'm saying, have, even in your relationship, it's always good to have a relationship outside your relationship.
Right.
It's always good, like Beyonce, she has her alter ego. You have, like you said, it's strictly entertainment, but some people don't know how to cut it off, and the pressure to come out with the next hit thing, that pushes them forward as well. And these things are expensive.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these artists, they died because they owed things. So own your things.
Right.
So like their logos belong to them.
Right.
You know, no one can tell us what we can work with. BMI, we can work with Sony, we can work, but you're not owned by Sony.
Right.
We can work with each other. So just make sure you own your, you know, it's all in reading that fine print, because they're gonna flash you everything in front of you, so you don't know what you're signing. You're like, oh man,
Right.
I'm gonna have this, and this like that, but they don't tell you. Even when you get older, if you make it to get older,
Right.
they throw you out. You know, you're not the latest thing. You got I've seen wrestlers, you know, they doing side ring stuff. I'm like, man, he was a superstar back in the day.
Mhm.
But it's like, if you're not the next hot thing, and if you didn't make it, and also show respect to your past, because like I said, a lot of times the kids will only know if the beat, you know, like Beyonce got a song, you make me happy,
Right.
but that's not Beyonce. That's
Right.
Mace and
Right.
Frankie Beverly.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'll be telling people that's not Beyonce, but that's how they know it. So you educate them and show them where the root of it came from.
Right. And it opens
You
up
know?
a whole nother
Yeah.
genre of music.
And
to
it
them.
makes them want to listen
Right.
to, oh man, that song
Mhm.
came from there.
They're missing a whole
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah. So,
So-
read the fine print.
So what we like to do before we end Roasting the World is we have what's called roast or toast. Roasting is where, you know, we set it aflame, we burn it, you know. And toasting is where we, you know, put up our glass to it and we cheer it. So I'm going to start with you. And do you roast or toast the music industry, the direction that the music is going, and the influences that it has on the youth and the power of it in today's culture?
Well, me specifically, I like to do it like try to find a way to roast and toast. So I'm going to roast the music industry just off of the knowledge that we know that they only really have one secret agenda, and that's the mass, and to tear up the community. We don't really see a lot of, like we said, that's Satan's work. With the music industry's ultimate goal is to terrorize and to put out negativity. But on the side note, I want to toast to the positive musicians out here, to the people who's actually trying to push positivity, or even utilize their platform to get the youth to get to a positive side. So I want to roast the music industry, but toast the positive musicians.
All right. And would you like to roast or toast our topic today?
Well, I would probably roast.
All right. Why?
I say, if they're not contemplating your next album, then you ain't doing nothing out here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kendrick Lamar, people are waiting on, what he has to say. Like you said, your music and your thing is your platform. If you're trying to get your message out there, then do good at it. Be good at what you're doing. Don't just sit there and rap in your, in your living room or in your back laundry room or in your bathroom, wherever you do. Make sure you be good at it. So when you put your voice out there, people gonna want to listen. Because once they listen to you, they're going to start watching you.
And they watch out what you do, and then you
Yeah.
got control to be able to input positive or negative things out there to the culture.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And we'll see you next time for another exciting episode of Roasting the World.
Peace.
Thank you.